This is Charlie Parsons, boxing correspondent and reporter for FightHype.com. Today, I'm doing an interview on an American channel. However, I'm the British one, and Jamel Herring is out in the States. Jamel, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Just taking it one day at a time, but I'm feeling great.
You are the WBO 130-pound champion. You've
Yes,
had a
sir.
bit of, well, you've been quite unlucky to say the least in the last couple of months. But before we go straight into that, what was the lockdown sort of like for you? In the States, it seems that coronavirus was worse than here, and here it was quite bad.
You know, the crazy thing is, in the beginning, everything was all right. Cause I was home. I was quarantined with the family before I started training camp. So, you know, for the most part, where I was at home, there was not too many issues out in Cincinnati, Ohio. It wasn't until I started training, got the training camp, when things got crazy for my own personal situation. But more importantly, I'm glad that I'm lucky. I feel lucky that I caught it, when I did, away from my family, because like I said, I didn't want to risk getting my wife and my children sick, things of that nature. So it is what it is, and luckily, I'm getting through it. So I have no reason to complain.
Of course. I haven't spoken to any people myself yet so far that have had COVID, but I have seen some people. The test has come back positive, and they didn't even know they had it. Was that similar to you,
Right.
or did you have symptoms, kind of thing?
You know what? I realized I had symptoms, but at the time, the symptoms that I had, I thought they were just coming from like working hard. Like I had the body ache, so I thought I was just from strength conditioning,
Yeah, yeah.
lifting and things of that nature. Then I had the I thought I felt a little fatigue factor, but I thought that was just from over sparring I was constantly doing up until the fight was postponed. So I didn't really know. And in the end, like towards the end, I had got the the cough or whatever, but I didn't get like the crazy other symptoms. Like I didn't get the whole thing where they said you lose your smell and taste,
Yeah.
and things of that nature. I didn't get like the real crazy symptoms. I had like those little minor things here and there.
And obviously with that, I believe there were two fight dates. First one delayed. I don't know too much about that, but I know the second one, July 14. I was speaking to you a little bit over Instagram and Twitter. We were going to do the interview on the Wednesday after the fight. Obviously, you had
Right.
the positive test. How was that, like a really frustrating time for you? Obviously, I remember seeing your Instagram, your stories. You'd made 130 easily. You looked in unreal condition. To then just be,
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like people, I mean, you wouldn't believe it if I told you right now. Right now, I'm back in the 30s. My weight's back in the 130s range right now. But like I said, it was one of those situations where I had tested positive around what I think June 21st, something like June 20th. So I quarantined for those 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks they said after you quarantine for those 14 days, 10 to 14 days, the virus is you can't pretty much spread it. So I was good to go back. I was still getting back into the grind of things, of course. Before I went to Vegas, I had tested negative. Before I went to Vegas, and then when I get to Vegas, you know what I mean? Like it's funny, I had tested positive or whatever, but then I took the antibody test, and the antibody test basically proves that I had the virus, but I had the antibodies to fight it off or whatever. And then I took another COVID test the following day. The day that I would originally weighed in
yeah.
was it July 13th. I took the COVID-19 test again, and then that test came back negative. So it was like, we really don't know how these things really work. One day, what I'm saying, it's like one day you're positive, next day you're negative. It was like literally like a 2-day span. It was like positive to negative again. But, in the end, it was kind of like, I look at it it was kind of like a blessing in disguise. All I did was allow my body to still recover more and more. Because like I said, I'm still fighting off some of the, the last symptoms of it anyway. But I was still, even though I felt confident going into the fight, but now that I hit the reset button on camp, I obviously am. I feel 10 times better than I did a month ago now. I feel way stronger. My conditioning is better. Like I said, I'm not having any issues in terms of with my lungs and breathing. So, like I said, everything happens for a reason, and I can't complain. At the end of the day, I'm still fortunate to be able to fight. You seen what happened with my boy from Philadelphia, Stephen Fulton. You know what I mean? He cool boy, Steph, cool boy. Yeah, I keep mixing. You know what I'm saying? He gets stuff the same name as my son, but my man, cool boy. He was going through. He went through his whole process of going through camp and the last minute, fighting for his first world title.
Now,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So, like I said, man, it just like it is what it is. 2020 hasn't been easy for anybody, so I really can't complain.
yeah, no, fair enough. We do finally have a date. Touch wood. I hope that this fight.
Oh, I hope too, man. Fingers crossed, man. Fingers.
It's against Oquendo, I believe you pronounce it. September 5. You're back in camp. You say you're in the 130s. You look incredible shape from what I've seen.
Thank you.
How do you expect this fight to sort of pan out? And what are you expecting out of him?
I mean, like I said, for a guy like Oquendo, he has everything to gain and not really much to lose. Of course, for the most part, he's pretty much the underdog. So of course, he's going in with everything to gain. So you can't overlook that. And I would never overlook anybody like that because I've been in that position when I fought Masika Ito. I was basically the guy that was the underdog going into that fight, and see how that turned out. But Kendall's he's a tough, durable dude. I take nothing from him. I just have to be smart because, as we all know, Bob Arum wants me to fight again this year, and we're pretty much going until the halfway. We're over the halfway mark of this year, so I got to be smart and still be crafty in there because I can't afford to risk any injuries or things like that, or any more setbacks at least. But I really Oquendo's, he's gonna be a good test, and we're just gonna take it as any other fight, and we're gonna just look at it as a serious challenge and go from there.
We have to talk about this fight. It seems that it's all anyone's been talking about for the last couple of months, really, on Twitter. If you're on boxing Twitter, you'll notice all the time it's Herring, Frampton, Herring, whatever way you want to put it. How is it also been a frustrating period that this fight was meant for summer? You got in the ring with him after his last fight. You're taking that photo, Arum in the middle. Obviously, then this came along. Then you guys have both got to fight, sort of, not to say tick over fights, but stay. You've got to have a fight. You've got to keep yourself busy.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right.
Is it annoying that it just seems that the more we speak about it, the more it just keeps getting put back? And we've got a November date, but it's always that worry.
I mean, I think, like I said, this year has been great for anybody in any sport and just everyone living their regular day, everyday life. So that's why I don't really complain because there's people out there who've lost, their jobs and things of that nature. And
yeah.
So I look at the bigger picture, and that's why I don't really cry too much about it over it. I'm just grateful that it's actually going to happen, and I really believe it. If we do get through our test this summer, in the fall, it will happen. The only complaint that people really can complain about, for the most part, is the fact that it was originally scheduled for Belfast in front of thousands of people, and
Unreal.
we really don't know exactly. We really don't know how it's going to go down in November. If we're going to have somewhat of a crowd, or we're going to, in a bubble situation again. So that means the real bad thing about this fight. But for the most part, the fight will still happen. So I'm happy about that. We've both been on board for the fight. No one has after a while, you've seen in the boxing, fighters, start feeling a different way and they have a change of heart and they want to go a different direction. But for the most part, we've both been real vocal about still making this fight. So like I said, let's just get through these fights this summer and finally get it on.
I think everyone's also enjoyed how respectful you guys have been when you communicate over Twitter. When I think that's another thing that there's no fake beef there. You're not trying to make it something that it's not. It's strictly business, and you guys are two very, very talented fighters, and that's really what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we've had basically a whole entire year to build as a fight. I don't believe we need get out of our character to push for the fight. I mean, from what I've seen just from this morning when Bob made his announcement pretty much making a fight in November, I've seen people saying the same thing you just said. Like, it's great that two guys who really respect each other and are respected in the boxing game, are finally going to meet up. I don't have to go out of here and step out of my character and be something that I'm not to make a fight. I mean, yeah, sometimes sometimes those things can help, those antics can't help build a fight. But for the most part, we've both been fortunate that we don't have to get out of character to sell the fight. The fight itself sells itself. And if you look at it, it's actually pretty much the one right as of right now through this pandemic. One of the biggest fights in the super featherweight division. If you really look around, I mean, of course, I give credit to Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz for making their matchup. But like I said, we're still waiting for the announcement for the Miguel Bertel Oscar Valdez situation. And like I said, my bro. Jojo Diaz, I know he's been waiting for a big fight. If it's with a rematch with Tevin Farmer or his mandatory. But if you like I said, if you look at the landscape at 130 pounds, Carl Frampton and I are pretty much the biggest, one of the biggest fights in the division that can be made. So and overall, I'm just honored and grateful that I'm even being mentioned in big fights because we all see a lot of world champions out there, but they're not really being mentioned in big fights. They just have a title, you know what I mean? But me and Carl Frampton have opportunity to do something special for the sport of boxing.
Of course. And one thing that I will ask you, I know you're not looking past September 5. You can't with it being pushed back. You've had enough time to study him. You've had enough time to train.
We've seen too many upsets. Matter of fact, and I'm glad. I'm speaking of upsets. I want to say one thing. Jonathan Oquendo, reminds me of his fight. And it's funny because I want to speak on that because if you really go through this past year or so, I know he's been calling me out. He said that I was lazy in fights and things of that nature. And I'm not for to kick a man down, and I hope he he bounces back, whatever. But like I said, man, I see and hear everything. A lot of guys, were calling me out saying I was either ducking them or trying to do this and that. But like, if I was actually willing to go to somebody's backyard to make a huge fight, which is Belfast. But I hope the guy does well. But there goes to show you that there's levels, and when I seen that what happened with his fight, like I had to look at my own situation. That's why I can't look over anybody. I gotta train as if I'm fighting for I'm fighting for my life here pretty much. And like I said, I wish the guy the best of luck, but I feel like sometimes karma can catch up to you, man. But it is what it is, man. Like I said, if he's strong mentally, he can come back and still do something in sport of boxing.
Of course. I just wanted to quickly ask, obviously without taking the eyes off September 5, but do you have a prediction on how that fight with Carl Frampton goes?
Oh yeah, I see myself as a victor in that fight, but unlike Carl, I'm not going to give away the things that I've seen. Carl gave me some last time we spoke. He gave me some bits. I told him he gave me some bits and details of the weaknesses that he pointed out with me. He tried to say that in the mid round that I can get lazy. I'm not fast with my feet and things. So I take those things and I go back to the gym and I work on them. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is what I'm going to do. Like, trust and believe. Like, I was just watching his fight. Let me just say this. I always been a fan of Carl Frampton. I've been watching the guy since he basically stepped on the scene in America. Like, even he had a great 2016 year. You can't take it away from him. Fighter of the year, had some Scott Quigg fight, Leo Sanders. So he had some great fights, and I respect him for that. But I watched everything, from where he was then to where he's at now. I watched the Josh Warrington fight. That was actually a really good scrap. Yeah. Warrington obviously surprised a lot of people in that fight. Yeah. But I just take little bits and pieces of things, and I just put it together where I can implement it myself, or take like I don't try to emulate, but it's just always something you can learn from just watching others. Like let me see if that will work with my style. So. That's what I could say. But where I beat and then nothing, where I beat Carl at size and reach or whatever, I always say that he beats me with experience because Carl Frampton has definitely been a lot of world titles, competitive fights. But like I said, we just have to see where the Jackal is at today in terms of his career, and hopefully, like I said, but for the most part, he's motivated to make history himself. So I'm still going to expect the best Carl Frampton.
Of course. On the last thing I want to mention, away from you this time, but it's been postponed, the exhibition bout between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. We see a lot of people talking about it. Some people, including myself, I'm not too keen on the whole exhibition side of things. What do you think about exhibition boxing as per se? And can I sort of almost get a prediction for the fight?
Exhibition fight, it's entertainment. You know, even TBE, Floyd Mayweather, he's doing exhibition matchups. It's just entertainment. Like especially if it's like you got it like this. There's two guys who basically pretty much retired. The only way you can really get mad at it if you could say like they were in a real fight and they were fighting for the mandatory position to fight Anthony Joshua. Then you could look at it like, well, look, okay, this is crazy. This is going too far. The guys in their city, but like if it's an exhibition fight, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it for what it is, and that's exactly what it is. Exhibition. It's not like we're hearing that Roy and Mike are fighting to get at the #1 spot for the world, the lineal world title, to fight Fury or somebody. But no, I don't frown upon it. Of course, you got to look at the guy. You got to side with the guy who's actually the natural heavyweight. For heavyweight his whole career on that nature, but. Like I said, I grew up watching them both, love them, respect them. I met them both. They're actually they're great gentlemen. But I don't take it for more than what it is. It's just an exhibition. And no matter, regardless, like we all know, we all love the sport of boxing. Regardless of what anyone says, I guarantee they're still going to tune into that fight. And matter of fact, I'm seeing that. Yeah, and actually, I'm seeing that they're trying to build it up. I'm glad to see my guy, Badu Jack. Badu Jack is he's a real good guy, real cool individual. I see he's getting back in the ring. And, for the most part, I'm just happy just to see boxing as like, one of those sports that we're starting to see a lot more often than other sports, because some of the other sports right now, they're still trying to get in the process of getting back into their regular routines. But boxing and MMA, combat sports as a whole, they've taken off running.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jamel, for your time. It's been much appreciated. We look forward to seeing you out September 5, and we look forward to keeping an eye on Carl on Saturday. Have you got any final message?
Oh, yeah, just want to say shout out to FightHype. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for your time, man. You've been great. Ben, you got to keep him on board, Ben. Give me a call, too, Ben. We got to catch up. But yeah, man, like I said, I'm just happy. I'm in a great mood. You can tell right now I'm ready to go. But yeah, just expect a lot of good things to come. Also want to give a shout out to my management company, First to Fight, Micaiah Krebs, Sean Simpson. We're definitely doing a lot. We have a lot of other surprises that we're going to be doing. So you expect to see a lot of these guys coming out the woodworks in terms of prospects and going into contenders. Like I said, I'm really happy. Look up Micaiah Krebs. She's actually a standout amateur. So I'm really excited about her. She should be fighting also in September. So after my fight, I gotta put on my manager's hat and go over there and take care of business with her and a few others. We're actually trying to sign on as well. I actually been doing it with Golden Boy, Top Rank. I still gotta get out to Eddie Hearn. Eddie, you still owe me a call, man. We spoke briefly, so Eddie still owes me a conversation. But yeah, like I said, shout out to my partner Jerry, man. Jerry from out there in LA. And if anybody wants to hit me up, reach me at Jamel Herring, Twitter, Instagram. Y'all know I show love.
Brilliant, Jamel. Thank you for talking to me at FightHype. You're an absolute legend, mate. Take it easy.
Thank you, man.